Hey guys, Colin McGraw here. Welcome back to the channel. Feeling a little gun shy. I'm here in Central Park. There's like a million people walking around, and I talk with a lot of energy, and I'm a little self-conscious that everyone's looking at me, so I have to get that out of my head. Anyways, guys, I'm here to talk to you about what. See, I'm just looking at everyone that's looking at me. I'm here to talk to you about why you should move in your 20s. So I'm going to give you a couple tips on why you should do it. And who am I? Who am I to give you this advice? Well, I have a little bit of credibility here. So I've lived in 4 different cities after college, which was 7 years ago now. I moved to Sydney, Australia for a year, lived in Boston for 3 years, Colombia for 2 years, and then New York City for less than a year now. Anyways, tip number 1, guys, if you guys want to go abroad in your 20s, which you definitely should do, tip number 1, have a loose plan. What do I mean by this, by a loose plan? Is, I'll give you an example. When I moved to Australia, I had a loose idea that I would travel for like a month and then I would end up working in Sydney. I ended up traveling for 6 weeks, so a month and a half, a little longer than I thought, and I ended up staying in like a town I really liked because I thought I was going to end up working there instead of Sydney. Have a loose plan. You never know what's going to happen. I think it's good to be flexible when you're going abroad. I moved to Colombia with the plan that I was going to quit and just live there for a year and come back. I ended up really liking it. I wanted to stay longer, and I decided to work for 1 year and then quit the next year to just do my side business, which was my clothing company. So doing that for a while. Have a loose plan. You never know. I ended up loving Colombia and I wanted to stay longer. It just didn't feel like my journey was done yet. Plus, I feel like I wanted a little longer to learn Spanish. So have a loose plan. Going off of that, have a budget in mind. So when I went to Colombia after 3 years in Boston, I think the number was 25K before I was going to move. That was the number I felt comfortable with to quit and move abroad. Ended up working out because I got a sales job that allowed me to work remotely, so I didn't have to quit. So again, it goes with that loose plan. Number 3, have an exit strategy. I feel like no one talks about this. It's almost like when you go into a business venture, they always say have an exit strategy. What do you want to get out of this? Where do you want to go with it? How are you going to leave the venture? I think you should think about this when you're moving abroad. First of all, know how long the visa is going to be, how long you can stay there, and if there are other visa options that you can continue your stay. Have a flight home. How much is that going to cost roughly? And have a plan when you get back home. This is really important. You need to have a plan when you get back home because there's going to be a large gap on your resume if you quit your job and you're going over. So are you able to explain that to employers? From my experience, I found out 50% of employers are looking down on that. They think it's a bad idea that you have that gap on the resume. It looks really lazy and it just doesn't look good. The other 50%, they think it looks really ambitious. Not many people do it. So really work towards that. Put that in your pitch when you're interviewing someplace. Man, I can't get comfortable here. All right, guys, and number 4, sell your stuff. Everyone wants to put their stuff in storage. They want to hang on to everything they have. But what I'm here to tell you is you don't need all that stuff. You might want to save all these clothes. Save some, yeah, bring it to your parents or your families if you want to save it. But you don't need it. You don't need all this stuff. I think people have this perception that it's brutal because they have all this stuff they have to put in storage. Sell off a bunch of it. It's not that hard to sell off a bunch of it. When I came back from Colombia, there was all these clothes that I saved. About 50% of it I just dumped in the end. I was just all right, this is out of style now, this doesn't fit. And I was just sell your stuff. I don't think it's that hard. Going off of that, I'm here in New York and I don't have much stuff yet because I'm getting a fresh start, a new wardrobe and everything. Everyone's commented on it. Where's all your stuff? How much stuff do you need? What do I need to be happy? I need a few clothes, a tennis racket, and some pots and pans. That's all I need. That's all I need. Number 5, research the destination you're going to. You're going to do this naturally. This actually isn't even a good tip, I don't think. I think everyone's going to research where they're going to. But I guess think about in terms of visa length is good to know. It's also good to know, maybe the safety in certain areas of the country. Don't take that with a grain of salt because I lived in Medellin, Colombia for 2 years and it was completely fine. But know the safety, know some things to do. Just research where you're going to, but also research it to get excited. Get excited about where you guys are taking off to. Number 6, and I think this is my best tip of the video. So take this one down. Stay in a hostel first. Wherever you're moving to, even if you're not like wanting to do like hostels where it's like 8 beds, get a private room in the hostel. But I think it's so important because you need to meet people around your age doing the same thing so you can start figuring out places to go, things to do. And I think that's quite important. When I moved to Australia, so like I just graduated college, I was moving to Australia. I stayed in a hostel when I first got to Sydney. And again, I think it's so important because I met a couple other people that wanted to move, they didn't know the area. And then you have, when you're out like job hunting or you're exploring the city, you can come back and have like friends. You have a little community started. Really important, really important. If you're going to another country and you don't stay in a hostel right away and you're moving alone, it might be tough to meet people. So have a plan in mind for that. I think for me, when I moved to Colombia, I was moving there with someone, so it was a little bit easier, but we struggled meeting people right away. We also moved during COVID, so that wasn't the best thing in the world. And we also wanted to stay away from expats because we wanted to learn the language. So I guess that's a little bit different. I'm going a little bit against my advice there, but I went with someone, so it was a little bit different. And number 7, the last tip I've got for you guys, most important, is to go for it. Just do it. Go for it. You're gonna have a lot of friends that are gonna be saying, oh my god, I'm so jealous, like I can't believe you're doing that, how do you do that, that's ridiculous. But anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. You're actually gonna do it. You're actually gonna go for it. It's not as hard as you might think, but just do it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Everyone can do it, and I think everyone should do it because when you go over, you're gonna have a blast. I guarantee you're gonna have a blast. And also going off of that, best piece of advice I've ever heard throughout my entire life was when I was debating about moving to Australia. It was like a big move. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. One of my good friends told me, the worst thing that happens is you don't like it, you come home. And that really, really sat with me because it was just like, oh yeah, you're just out a little bit of money. You're not gonna be thinking about that money in a couple of years. And at least you went for it. So just remember that at the end of the day, you can always go home. Why not go for it? There's my tips, guys. Have a loose plan, budget accordingly, have a good exit strategy, sell your stuff, research the destination, hostel first, find your community, and go for it. All right, that's today's video, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm feeling a little more confident now I'm talking, but I gotta get over this fear of speaking in public. I really need to work on it. If anyone has any tips for speaking in public, let me know because I need some help on it. And as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Oh man, there's so many people. I can't film here. I'm just gonna have to do it somewhere else. I can't do it here. Maybe next year when I'm famous, I'll film here. But right now I can't do it.